Hello and welcome to the Nurse Rosa's Insights podcast. I'm your host, Rosa Hart, and today joining me is a very special young man, Maxwell Tran. Thank you so much for hopping on the podcast with me today.
Yeah, of course. I'm so happy to be here. Yeah, I'm really excited.
So, we met recently at AI Med, which is a conference bringing together people all across healthcare to talk about how to use technology to meet the needs that we see in healthcare. And that's what this podcast is all about, is finding solutions. And you were the winner of the abstract competition, and I must say well deserved. So, more applause is
Thank
re-
you. Thank you so much. Yeah.
so, Maxwell, would you share with us your story since it is so closely tied to your abstract that you won based on?
Yeah. Yeah, of course. So I'm Maxwell Tran and I'm currently at Corona Del Mar High School and I'm a junior, but I'm someone who has a stutter myself. And so it kind of started when I was in elementary school and like I kind of noticed that I can't talk as well as my peers. And then I was just kind of like a little nervous in elementary school, but at the same time, I didn't really care as much about my own voice because I'm an elementary school kid and I didn't have that awareness. But like as I grew older, then I grew like a little more insecure about using my voice, and like it was just hard for me to talk in class and to like order food at a restaurant or like talk on the phone. It's just all these sorts of things that like normal students take for granted, like, I just couldn't do, so I thought that that was, like, really hard for me, and obviously, like, I was in, like, speech therapy, and I was, like, working through it, but it wasn't exactly, like, working, like, sure, sometimes it would work, but, like, my stutter is, like, very unpredictable, so it doesn't work every single time, like, the strategies I learn or, like, the fluency, like, pathways that you learn in speech therapy. So, as I got older, I began to, like, become more and more insecure and, like, more in my shell, like, really shy. Even though me as a person, I don't think I'm, like, a super shy person. I like to meet others and talk to other people, but it's just something that, like, my stutter is, like, it's something that I can't control, but it's something I can't control, but it's, like, restricting my personality from, like, being out in the world and from sharing my ideas and expressing my thoughts to, like, the crowd and, like, my classmates, my peers. And so, like, in middle school, it was, like, my worst time because like, I was, like, super insecure and, like, it's a brand new school and, like, I don't know anybody and, like, I have to, like, tell everybody, like, "Oh, I have a stutter," and then, like, I just wouldn't talk in class, wouldn't raise my hand or, like, anything like that. But then afterwards, I actually joined surprisingly, I joined speech and debate, which is like one of the, in my opinion, like I don't recommend it to people who stutter. If you're someone who stutters out there, like I wouldn't recommend it for everybody. But I wanted to like kind of expose myself to like the world of public speaking because I thought I was so interested in like how people communicate and like the voice modulation, how they use their hand gestures, just like all the things of public speaking, and I want to learn from them so I can apply it to my own life to be able to like present and to use it in my everyday speaking, my everyday conversations. So I joined speech and debate, and it was quite a roller coaster initially. Like I was kind of in the back of the team. I was kind of like just listening, observing, kind of learning from my peers and like the board members who are like the people who were running the entire academic team. And I was like just so like mesmerized by these people who are able to talk so well, even though like I I can't talk like that when I started out. So like I definitely don't recommend it to like everybody because it's definitely like very daunting. And it's very nerve wracking when you're up there because they'll call on people randomly, so you go up there and talk
Oh,
randomly, and it's very daunting to be like a person who stutters and like you're in front of the crowd and like if you stutter, it's like every stutter feels like a million years. And it's like the anxiety gets to you. But like over time, I kind of got used to that feeling, just like being in the spotlight. And then instead of like hating it, I grew to like I grew to love public speaking. Like I love doing speeches, doing presentations because I'm able to practice it, refine it, and like the best part about it is like everybody is listening to you, like just you. And when you're doing like a solo speech or a solo presentation for a class, they're all listening to just you. And that's where I kind of like started growing out of my shell. I started like speaking more, talking to my friends more, raising my hand in class a little bit more. And then in high school, that's when I learned about the CHOC Mi4 internship program, which is a great and awesome program that I applied to last summer when I was a sophomore going into my junior year.
And
So this,
let me
yeah,
interrupt you. So that's from the Children's Hospital of Orange County in
right,
California, right? Now
mhm,
Rady
right.
Children's.
Yes, now they just merged with a Rady Children's Health,
Mhm.
so they're under one name. And and then I joined this program. It's called MI4. It's like it's for Medical Innovation Institute.
Oh,
So the whole point of the internship is to kind of gather like a bunch of creative like undergraduates and high school students. It favors more undergraduates than high school students. So there's a smaller group of high school students. So when I did this program, like every week we would attend like lectures, like listening to like other specialties of like doctors and like other people who share their experience in the medicine and healthcare field. And it was an awesome experience. And that's where my idea of my new glasses came about because I was in the program. One of the main um one of the main things about the program is that you spend the whole summer developing an abstract idea,
mhm.
and then it could be anything. Like I had some friends who I had a really close friend who did his on VR and like VR to do something with like physical therapy for neuro patients, like patients who have neurological injuries, and his idea was pretty cool as well. But, like everybody has like very different ideas, and they're all so creative and like there's honestly it's so awesome just like listening to everybody share their ideas and reading their abstracts. It's like amazing to me. And then so I took the opportunity to write my abstract about something about stuttering because I have personal experience with it. So I thought that I might as well just write about something that I resonate with and also incorporate some of the things that I think would help other people who study. So I spent like the summer getting feedback from like the lead interns, some of the other physicians who were in charge of the program, just kind of getting feedback about how to improve my idea and what would make it better for pediatrics and other people as a whole. And then it just kind of spiraled upwards. And then I was able to make it to grand rounds, which is like at CHOC Grand Rounds is where I was able to share my idea with like the entire hospital. So that was awesome. And I was really excited to be chosen because not a lot of people were able to present at that, but everyone was really supportive of me, and I was able to share my idea with the rest of the world. And that was kind of the first time that I was able to share like these new ideas that I'm super passionate about with the rest of the world. And then afterwards, I learned about AI Med from Dr. Chang,
Mhm.
and then I applied to that, and I was very surprised when I won because I remember waking up that morning and I received an email and I opened it and it says, "Congratulations, you're an overall winner." And I thought that I was a like a top finalist because
Yeah.
that's what I heard about. Like, oh, making top finalist, and I'll go compete again
Yeah.
to like present and win like the category awards. But then my dad actually he said, you know, it says, the overall winner, right? I'm like, "Really?" And then so I read it a little closer and it says overall winner, and I still wasn't sure. So I actually emailed, um, Miss Gemma, who is the content director of AI Med. I'm like,
Uh,
"Hey, does it mean I'm a finalist or an actual overall winner?" She's like, "No, you're the overall winner." So I was like
for real.
shocked. I was like super surprised, and that's when it like all hit me, and I was able to present at AI Med, and I had a great time at AI Med.
Yeah, and we all agree you very much deserved that. And um so let's talk some more about what your design actually was for your abstract. So I know I've used some new AI glasses before where when you're speaking, it kind of transcribes it, either
Mhm,
what someone is saying to you or sometimes even what you are saying. And that can help with people who have limited hearing in an area.
mhm.
Um, so, describe the glasses that you designed as part of the MI4 program.
Yeah, of course. So during the MI4 program, we had a mentor session. I forgot who it was, but they talked about like VR and AR. So it was like virtual reality and augmented reality, and that was kind of the theme for the entire week. We just spent a week learning about that, and I thought like, oh, what better way to put it to use when as a wearable for a person who stutters, because obviously there are not a lot of treatments for people who stutter, and there's no cure currently because it's very like unique for each person who stutters. Like some people might stutter on specific sounds, specific syllables more than others, and their frequency might be a little bit different. They might have more subclasses of stuttering more than other people. And so my glasses kind of took a very adaptable approach. So what it does is it uses augmented reality, which just means that it overlays a projection, like a virtual projection over what a person is seeing. So it differentiates itself from virtual reality, because virtual reality is just a big screen in front of you and you can't see like your
Mhm.
surroundings. So augmented reality, what it does is it places the screen on top of like your surroundings. So you can still see like, your door, your bedroom, your workplace, people you want to talk with, while still seeing the projection of the AR screen. Basically, what my glasses do is when a person is stuttering, so if I say my it's gonna predict that I'm trying to say my name is, and then it'll project on a screen. Oh, these are all the words that you're trying to say. Choose the one that you're trying to say, because obviously the AI is not going to be exactly right 100% of the time. So it's going to project all the possible predictions on an augmented reality screen, and the user can select it using eye tracking. Can select it, so it's like hands free, and then it's very inconspicuous. So like nobody else will kind of see what the person who stutters is doing, or if their glasses are even like smart glasses in general. So and then when they choose the word trying to say, the word will kind of it'll enlarge to show a phonetic pronunciation of the word.
Mhm.
Because for me, when I'm reading something off a screen, I probably won't stutter as much. I might stutter, but my frequency will be a lot less. So, and it's in its phonetic form, so I don't have to worry about pronunciation. I can read it just how it is on the screen. So I kind of designed that because I wanted to take the burden of like thinking about the word and like using all that brain power to just like remember the word and to say it. Because for a person who stutters, I know that's like a struggle for a lot of people. And just take that burden, put it on the glasses so they can just read it off, just like without any stress. And as a person just reads off of the screen, um, I intended to have what's called the choral effect being used. What the choral effect basically says is that like when I'm saying something at the same time as somebody else, then I'm not gonna stutter. And they're still researching it, but I think it's because mirror neurons are activated, which overrides the stuttering pathway. So when I'm saying like my name is Max, for example, and I'm saying that at the same time as somebody else who's like saying it with me, then I'm probably not gonna stutter as much because I'm saying it with somebody else, and the glasses serves as that kind of another voice who's saying it with you, so you're not alone in trying to navigate your way through a stutter. And so those are kind of two main components of the glasses. And there's one more pathway of the glasses. So if you're still stuttering, because obviously they're very, very stubborn stutters,
Mhm.
then you'll have the option to activate outward speakers, which will basically say the word you're trying to say, basically like for you. So the audience still understands what you're trying to say. So if someone's trying to say my name and I can't say the word name, then the glasses will say it for you. So the audience can still hear what you're trying to say and you can move on to the next word. Obviously, not everybody likes that feature. So that's be totally optional. Like if you're someone who stutters and you don't like that at all, then it can be totally optional. You can turn it off or leave it off, turn it on when you want to. It's just kind of a fail safe for people who stutter. And
And for
that's yeah.
the part where you're hearing it and no one else around
Mhm.
you is hearing it, where
Yes.
what part of your design was to use the bone conduction, is that right?
Yes. Right.
Those are really neat headphones where
Mhm.
it doesn't cover up any parts of your ear
Yeah.
visibly and you can still hear it. It's so neat how that works.
Yeah, it's really neat.
And
Yeah, so I mm, mhm.
did
Yeah.
you work with any speech therapists in developing this idea, or was it based on any experience you have in speech therapy?
Mhm. This is all based on like my own experience, but a few weeks ago, I think about a month ago, I'm actively like developing this idea right now
Mhm.
with CHOC and some representatives from the National Stuttering Association right now. So I went to one of their meetings and I got some feedback about my idea, and it was a little bit divided because the stuttering community is trying to shift more from the treatment side of managing your stutter to like more like mental health and like that stuttering acceptance. So it was kind of divided in the opinions. Like some people like my idea, some people thought it was just like another treatment to like make money off of them. So it was a little bit divided, but the majority of them said that it would be very helpful for people who stutter and just like rebuilding those fluency pathways and achieving more confidence in their own voice. So I was working with them a little bit on, but for the majority of my idea, like over the summer, it was just from my own experience.
Okay, well, that's good to know. I was very surprised at your insight into the struggle of other people, though,
Hmm.
because, like, I don't know how bad your stutter was in the past, but, the part that really got to me and really impressed me with you was, towards the end of your talk, you brought up that something like this might even be helpful for someone who'd had a stroke and was dealing with aphasia and having to relearn how to speak. Maybe they didn't have a stutter or anything like that before.
Hmm.
Maybe they know what they want to say, but they're having trouble getting it out. And I was really surprised and delighted that you had thought of that use case because I work with a lot of people who have stroke, and that is hugely impactful for their quality of life. So, when did that come into your awareness?
So that when I was first initially like developing the idea, I initially started with like just a studying population because I wanted to start kind of local and like more personalized to my community. But
Mhm.
then I actually attended they call it an innovation hours session. So that's something that Chalk had that I had access through the internship program, and then one of the administrators, I think it was, Miss Tiffany, she actually mentioned that, "Oh, it has actually very broad applications to, like, other populations, like the stroke population." And that's when I kinda got the idea because I was like, "Oh, like, other people who have neurological injuries who are trying to rebuild those fluency pathways, who lose that ability to, like, comprehend speech or even be able to, like, make their own speech, it's really hard for them to like rebuild that because they have to go through the same speech therapy sessions that like people who stutter
Yeah.
do. So I thought that like it'd be very helpful for them if they have like a stutter or if you can help them work on those speech therapy strategies because I know it'd be very beneficial for them. And outside of like the people who are like stroke patients, it can even apply to just like a person who doesn't wanna public speak, but they wanna work on it. Like,
Mhm.
people who stutter just based on if they're really nervous or if they're really anxious, or if they have a like, a anxiety attack, it can help them as well because it takes the burden off of them and puts it on their glasses. So they use the glasses as kind of like a crutch, kind of. So these glasses have very broad applications, and I'm still working on, like, how I can expand it to, like, a wider audience.
Yeah. Well, I'm loving this whole idea and the process. Like I love learning about these opportunities for young people to go ahead and get their feet wet and start developing things.
Mhm,
My son is in high school as well, and so I'm really excited about the future you guys are building. So this brings us to the $1 billion question that I
mhm,
ask all of my guests. And that is, Maxwell, if you were given a grant for $1 billion with a B to meet
mhm.
a need that you see, how would you like to see it used strategically to have the most sustainable impact?
Yeah, it's a really big question, and it's a really hard question, but I think that me personally, I'm really passionate about like neuroscience and more specifically like neurodegenerative diseases. So I think I would put that grant towards research for neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's disease, because right now they're like obviously in developed countries like the US or like other countries in Europe, we're having like an aging population right now. So our aging population continues to grow every day, and with an ever increasing aging population, you'll have a lot more an increased prevalence of Alzheimer's disease patients. I think that Alzheimer's disease patients are really important because they put a very major strain on the U.S. economy and economies in general because you have to spend a lot of money to like take care of them, caregivers, and like their loved ones are spending more time taking care of them when they could be spent like entering the labor force, and they have to like take time away from their jobs to like care for their loved ones who suffer from Alzheimer's disease or even different forms of dementia. So I think that more money should be spent in research and maybe detecting Alzheimer's before it ever like um and it ever develops like fully, so that you can catch those Alzheimer's disease patients before they fully enter through like all the stages of Alzheimer's disease, and this will like reduce the strain on the U.S. economy and kind of help these people who are caring for their loved ones who suffer from these like Alzheimer's is a very like terrible disease because you lose memory, all these different symptoms. It's really hard for their loved ones. So I think that it will not only help loved ones like get over caring for their loved for their Alzheimer's disease patients, but also like it'll take the burden off of the U.S. economy and make sure that more money can be spent in other areas of like infrastructure or like accessibility to healthcare in developing countries.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right that it is a huge issue, and actually, stroke really impacts a lot of people's memory as well. About half the people who experience a stroke have their memory affected in some way. And there are a lot of other causes of dementia other than specifically Alzheimer's. It's kind of
Mhm.
hard to diagnose specifically Alzheimer's, but you'll see those outward signs of dementia and wonder, like, is this Alzheimer's? It's funny you mentioned that because we had another guest on here, Phyllis Farrell, and
Mhm.
she's been working on the Alzheimer's moonshot. And one thing that she said she would use her $1 billion for would be to proliferate an early assessment tool. I think she was saying for everyone around the age of 50 to do a mild cognitive assessment, um, little quiz to just identify if they were having some of those memory and cognition issues earlier to head it off in a question and answer format. So that was a really interesting idea. And then on another podcast that I do, Stronger After Stroke, I interviewed an audiologist, and she was talking about the huge impact on cognition that hearing has. And so many
Mm.
people will start to have hearing loss and not know that they are, or they'll start developing coping mechanisms or masking behaviors. Like they'll nod and act like they understand when they really don't, because they don't want to lose their independence. But by treating that, by having a hearing aid or something like that, they can prevent dementia. They can prevent some of the cognitive decline by ensuring that they are able to hear what's going on around them and continuing that
Right.
stimulation. So I think you're right that there is a lot there that we have yet to tap into and really take advantage of for prevention of dementia as
Right.
well as treatment. And like you said, that caregiver burden is a real
Right.
issue.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, for
Mhm.
our whole economy and
Mhm.
definitely for the quality of life of those families that are impacted.
Yeah. Of course. Yeah, it is.
So, thank you so much for sharing your insight and probably giving people hope for the future that young people like you who are smart are using their energy to make the world a better place and overcoming your struggles. So, good on you for that.
Yeah, yeah, thank you so much. Thank you.
Mm. So, if people hear this and they want to learn more about your idea or they want to reach out to work with you, where is the best place to find you?
Yeah, I'm on LinkedIn, so if anybody would like to work with me or would like to contact me, my LinkedIn, I have a LinkedIn, so just connect with me and send me a message, and I'll do my best to answer you.
Yes, you were very responsive on there. Appreciate that. And I will have your LinkedIn in the show notes so they can reach
Okay,
you.
yeah,
Of
of course.
course, they would need to probably check, make sure they have your parents' permission.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
If you're listening to this and you've enjoyed this episode of the Nurse Rosa's Insights podcast, please like and subscribe wherever you're listening or if you're watching on YouTube. You can connect with me also on LinkedIn or on the other forms of social media at Nurse Rosa Speaks. I look forward to hearing your feedback in the comments as to if you learned something or if you know someone else who has a $1 billion idea to transform healthcare. And I'll see you in the next episode.